Alright, Braxton here. Okay, I'm literally making like my 2 videos back to back, so it's my second one, like I promised. Okay, so this one is a remake, so take 2. Anyways, is a remake of my growing up in a Mormon family as gay/transgender. Okay. Let me first and foremost make something clear that seemed to not be clear in my last video. I am not lesbian. I'm transgender. I'm a transgender male. FTM, female to male. Now I'm going to clarify that one thing, I hate the term FTM because it's female to male, so it points out the fact that I am female going to a male. That's why I refer to myself as a transgender male, because there is no female in there. I'm male. Okay? Granted, I'm still biologically female. I have not had any surgery. I'm not taking testosterone. Some people believe otherwise, which is a compliment, I do have to say. It's a nice compliment. But no, I am not taking testosterone right now. I've not had my top surgery. None of the above. Okay? That's just to clarify. And so I do go by male pronouns. I am a male, and I'm not lesbian. Okay? Now, that is out of the way. Growing up in a LDS faith, Mormon family, whatever you want to call it, as first gay, and then making my transition to transgender. Okay, you guys have to understand, I have grown up my whole entire life being raised as a member of the LDS faith, Latter-day Saints, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That's how I've been raised. I was born in Utah. I lived here for my first 2 years of life, and then we moved to Detroit, Michigan area. We were not in like the city Detroit, but we were in counties surrounding it. Mainly Ann Arbor area, if you guys know Michigan. But I grew up there for 6 years. We lived in, I believe, 3 different houses. But yeah, I'm sorry I keep yawning. I need caffeine. I need a dirty chai. That's what I need. Anyways, sorry, off topic. So, yeah, I grew up being raised in the church, and after I moved from Michigan, we moved to Las Vegas, and, you know, it isn't that big a population of Mormons, but a lot of the people in my neighborhood were, and so it's kind of just like, those of you that are Mormon stick together type thing. So, and then I moved after 6 years, so when I was 14, I moved from Vegas back to Utah, and I've been living in Utah and in the same house ever since. And so I grew up as a Mormon, and I did not know about the LGBT community until I was 15. And I had no idea what a transgender was until I was 17. Yeah. That's just how things were. I was 17. My first Pride I went to was last year. So I was a 17-year-old lesbian that had no idea what a transgender was. Well, that's a lie. I was about 16, almost 17. Because I'm not really sure when I met Creed. Because Creed was a friend of my ex-girlfriend, Ashley. And he was transgender, but, like, I'm not sure if I know he hasn't done top surgery, and I'm not sure if he was doing testosterone at the time, or if he was just a bodybuilder. So, all I knew is him as Creed as him. So, and he was a guy in my mind. Like, I never considered him like really transgender. He was just a guy. Like, granted, that's how it's supposed to be, but like, I never felt like I could ask him questions type thing, because like, it was strictly male. Like, yeah. Anyways, so it was 16 or 17, and when I went to Pride, like, see, the thing is, let me clarify something. The reason why I was lesbian for so long was because I was in a lesbian relationship, and my girlfriend was a gold star lesbian. So, like, she'd never been in a relationship with a male, never had sex with a male, like, nothing. Like, I was strictly in a lesbian relationship, and she made that very clear. So, at the time, I was just a very butch lesbian. But it never felt right. Like, I never felt like I was complete type thing. Like, it wasn't enough. And so when I started realizing that when people mistaken me as a guy, I took no offense and I actually preferred it. And so that's kind of when I started questioning. But once again, I was in a lesbian relationship that I didn't want to leave. And so sorry guys. And so I just ignored it. Even though, I knew that I knew something was up and that I wasn't lesbian. And so, like, when I went to Pride and I saw that they had a transgender stall, but Ashley was wish. Okay. When I went to Pride and I saw that they had a transgender tent, I didn't feel like I could go because Ashley was with me, and so, I didn't go, but I knew that that's where I should be, type thing. So, anyways, back to my story. Like I said, I was very sheltered. I didn't really understand what the LGBT community was. Like, I'd never come into contact with someone that was gay or lesbian or bi or transgender or anything like that. Like, there was no contact whatsoever. So I didn't know what it was. Well, I moved to Utah and that's when I was introduced. So, growing up in a Mormon family, people have so many, I don't know, they follow so many stereotypes of every single type of religion. Whether you're a Christian and just the different religions within Christianityism, I don't know, whatever word you want to use, or just people that believe in different gods or things like that. So it's just like, you have every single religion has a stereotype. Well, a lot of stereotypes within Mormonism is that we are, or not we, because I'm no longer consider myself a Mormon, for different reasons, that they are very bigoted, closed-minded assholes. Mind you, that is not far from some of the truth. Let me say that again. It's not far from some of the truth. You have to be able to distinguish the Mormon religion from the people. Something I've had to learn, like, that took me a while to learn. Like, a long while to learn. Because I also had an issue with the Mormon religion and the Mormon church because of some of the people. Now, mind you, not all of the people are like that. I know quite a few of them that are very accepting and understanding. Like, for example, my parents. I know in my past video I made my parents come off as jackasses and assholes. They are not. My family is not. My parents misunderstand because they were raised differently. Like, they were raised also, like, everyone in my family was raised in the church. Like, they weren't converts or anything like that. So my parents were raised that being gay and being lesbian and bisexual and transgender, like, all of that was wrong. And it's just it's not with human nature type thing. And so that's their belief. Just because they believe that doesn't make them horrible people. I mean, I was raised to believe that the earth was round, and I trust that the earth's round. Now that we now have scientific evidence that the earth is round, but still, like, I'm raised to believe certain things, so I'm going to trust that my parents are telling me the truth, and that's how it is. That's how things are, until I have my own experiences to define otherwise. Well, my parents haven't had those. They are the way they are. It's how it is. So I'm not gonna judge my parents on their decisions, because they were raised as members of the church, and that's how they believe, and so they can believe what they want to believe. So let them. Okay? It's another point that I wanted to clarify was your parents, it's very unlikely, I'm sorry, but it is very unlikely that you are going to sway your parents. Unless for some reason they are just like, they get this light bulb off in their head and they're just like, oh my gosh, and they believe something new. But that can happen too. But don't get your hopes up. There's a difference between accepting and tolerating. Let's just clarify that, okay? There is a difference between accepting and tolerating. My parents are tolerating parents. They're not accepting parents. They will never accept my lifestyle. Now, the difference between toleration and exception, I think that's it, is toleration or tolerating. They will support me in, okay, let's clarify this. They will support me in some ways, but not all. My parents, as being transgender, my parents will never support my transition, ever. My mom has been, since I've come out to her, has been trying to deter me otherwise, but she knows it's not going to happen, so she's kind of given up. But she will always try to deter me. But now that she's realizing that there is no way she can, she's tolerant of it. She will never accept it. She will never accept me as her son. She will never accept me as the male that I want to be and that I'm meant to be. She's tolerant of it. When I was gay, and even now when I was transgender, my parents were tolerating of the relationships I was in. They were tolerating of Ashley. They were tolerating of Tiffany. Now, everybody assumes when you say tolerant, it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's not all a bad thing. Okay? Tolerant is not a bad word. Okay? They were tolerant in a way that they won't accept my lifestyle because they don't agree with it. But it doesn't mean that they're not accepting of the people I'm with. Like, they absolutely love Tiffany. Like, they treated Tiffany as if she was their own daughter. Like, they loved Tiffany. Well, you know, they're tolerating, they're not accepting, but they're still being good people. And they're still loving me because they know this is what I want to do and this is who I'm going to be. They don't have to accept it. They can tolerate it, but it's a good thing still. Okay? So let me once again clarify. It's okay if your parents tolerate it. There's different levels of tolerating. There's the lowest level, which is your parents aren't really ever, they're going to tolerate, they're not going to like, they're going to pretty much, if your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever relationship you're in, comes over to the house and they seem very cold and it's more of the hi, how are you? I really don't give a shit type thing. That's the lowest level of toleration. The highest level is almost like my parents. They will never accept it, but they will be very kind, accepting of my partner, meaning accepting into the family, because they know I love her. Okay? Now, just follow me along when I tell you guys my story, because it's not that exciting, but still. Like I said, I moved around a lot. And so, yeah, I have experienced many different Mormons. I've experienced the very self-righteous. I've experienced the very humble and even some accepting Mormons. Like, I've experienced both levels. Now, the very self-righteous ones are the ones that we call utards, because they think they're better than everybody else, and that if you don't follow every single teeny itty bitty rule in the church, you're going to hell. Or you're going to the lowest level of the celestial kingdom, or whatever. Like, they are just like, they're stuck in their ways. And they are not a loving people. That's the people that you come into contact with when you haven't grown up in the church and you come up to someone that is very rude, condescending, bigoted. We call them utards. Not very many people make up the population of the church that are utards. It just seems like it. Especially when you live in Utah, because they're utards. Well, you have people that come from out of town when you're living in... Okay, so when you're living in Utah, you have people that are coming from out of town. They have many different perspectives, and they're normally the more accepting. But you have Mormons that are coming from Utah, that grew up in Utah. That's when you're going to have run-ins with utards. It's just how it is. Okay, let's just be honest. Okay, so my parents are not utards. Yes, they grew up in Utah, but they've moved around quite a bit, and my parents are not utards. I love my parents dearly. And my young women's leader, if you are a member of the church, you know what I'm talking about. My young women's president is very accepting. She knows that I was lesbian before, and now she knows that I'm transgender, because I told her. Granted, she will never call me by male pronouns or by Braxton, but still, she knows. And she doesn't love me any less. She is very tolerating of my situation. But, like, she doesn't agree with it. But that's okay. Because you have to understand, they don't have to be okay with it to still love you. They don't have to be okay with it to still treat you like a human being. And still treat you like an equal. Like, you know, it doesn't have to be that way. So, what I'm trying to get at right now is I want you guys to understand. I know what it's like to grow up in a very Mormon family. To have to hide who you are because you are terrified your parents are going to hate you, and because your parents are going to kick you out, or things like that. Give them the benefit of the doubt before you start questioning. You ask, why, Braxton? Why should I give them the benefit of the doubt when they talk shit on people or whatever? It's because sometimes it's different with their own kid. Sometimes it's worse. So they're just like, you know, I don't see why, you know, you have to you have to be gay or you're transgender, blah, 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 because they're their own kid. That's how my parents are. My parents are very accepting of, or not accepting of the lifestyle, but accepting of the people. put it that way. My mom, one of my mom's best friends here is a lesbian, has a lesbian, like, they are pretty much married and have 3 kids. But the one partner, so my mom's friend has 3 kids from a different relationship, but with a new partner. So anyways, my dad knows some gay people. My dad knew a lesbian couple. I mean, you know, they're accepting of the people, they just don't accept the lifestyle. They still love them. They don't love them any less. They treat them like human beings, like they hang out. It's just how it is, you know? Granted, they don't accept the fact that, and will never accept the fact that I'm transgender. It's worse because I'm transgender, because I'm completely changing the body that I was born into. But still, they still love me, and they're not going to change that. They're not going to all of a sudden go from loving me to hating me because of a life choice. Because they do realize that I am making a choice to make that transition instead of live in my body that I hate. Because people don't understand, some people in the LGBT community get so offended because people are just like, oh, well, you're making the choice. Yes and no. Now, before you get all high and tidy and tooty and offended because I said you make the choice, in some aspects you do. You don't make the choice to feel the way that you're feeling. That is not a choice in any way, shape, or form. And you don't just become gay. But there is that one decision that you do make to live the lifestyle. Because you can lie to yourself for the rest of your life and you can be straight. Though you're technically gay, you just act as a straight person. You can choose to live the lifestyle of a straight person and to torture yourself for the rest of your life because you're trying to make everybody else happy. Or you can choose to live the gay lifestyle and be happy for the rest of your life. It's up to you. I'm choosing to live my transgender lifestyle and to go along with my transition when I can, and to get top surgery and to start testosterone. I'm making that choice. But no, I'm not making that choice to feel the way I feel. I am not making the choice because honestly, I probably wouldn't have, if I had a decision of whether or not I wanted to become transgender, I wouldn't. Because it makes life so much more complicated. Like, honestly, it's so complicated, it's not even funny. Because you have to learn how to still respond to your biological name and biological pronouns, but also respond to your chosen pronouns and chosen name. So I get people that are calling me Belinda and she, and then I also have people that are calling me Braxton and he. So I'm literally living a double life right now. Because I have to, so I can be happy. So no, I wouldn't choose to be transgender. But I choose to make myself happy because I'm not going to be stuck in a body that I hate for the rest of my life. So I'm choosing to live the lifestyle. But I'm not choosing to be transgender. If that makes sense. Because if I had chosen to be transgender, then I was just making my life a hell. I'm not choosing the feelings because they're there and they're always going to be there. But I'm choosing to make the decision for myself, and I'm choosing to make myself happy. Okay? So understand that difference. So when your parents are telling you that you're making a stupid decision or a stupid choice, and why did you make that choice, you can tell them I didn't choose to feel the way I did. But I'm choosing to make myself happy. And I'm choosing to have a happy life. Your parents, not all parents are ever going to accept you or to even tolerate you. But choose to be happy than to make everybody else happy. It's not worth it. Alright? I understand what it's like to grow up in a Mormon family. I honestly do. I understand what it's like to grow up until 15, 16, and have no idea what the hell the LGBT community is, because you are stuck in that bubble. And as I like to call it, it's called the pretty princess bubble. Because I was stuck in the pretty princess bubble. I had no idea what the hell it was. And so I didn't understand what my feelings were. I didn't have anyone to talk to. Until I was 16, I didn't have anybody to talk to about those feelings. So I understand. Not all parents are going to be accepting. Some people, when you grow up in a member of the Mormon church, your parents aren't going to tolerate it, they're not going to accept it, and they will probably make your life a living hell. That's just the blunt truth. But some parents are going to be like mine. They're going to tolerate it, but they're never going to accept it. And as of right now, that is A-okay with me. Because I love my parents. And I want to change them for the world. And honestly, I wouldn't change my life for the world. Because you know what? My life is the way it is. And I am who I am because of that. And I'm okay with it. I'm accepting. So growing up in a Mormon family isn't all that bad. Mormons aren't all that bad. Like I said, they aren't all that bad. Yeah, some of them are jerks. And they're very judgmental. I've experienced that a lot. But not all of them are going to be that way. And not most of them are that way. So don't automatically assume all Mormons are that way. Or all Christians. Or all Catholics. Or whatever the P church is. President. I have no idea. All Baptists or Methodists or whatever. All Muslims or Islams or whatever. Buddhists or whatever religion you are involved in. Don't start automatically assuming that they are all the same. Because that'd be like saying all transgenders are the same. And you guys know, we are not all the same. Not even close. Okay? So once again, stop fighting the hate with hate. Stop fighting fire with fire. Start fighting that hate with love. Because once we do that, we'll start loving each other. And things will happen a lot faster. Because people will start realizing that we aren't a hateful people. We love each other. And we love you guys. Even though you guys don't accept our lifestyle, we still love you. Because you are just another human being with just another opinion. And that's okay. Let them hate on you. Let them treat you like shit. But don't do the same, because then we're just hypocrites. Hypocrites. Sorry. I was watching Harry Potter. We're not hypocrites. Alright? Start fighting the hate with love. Rex it out. Peace.